whoever stays on will be here.
Yeah, actually, I'd like it if Liz would stay on too, to offer some insight as well. Basically, let's just talk about why we might want to enter a show other than getting an award or selling the painting. I mean, there's other reasons. Can anybody tell me another reason to enter?
I can.
Oh, good.
It forces me to work. And for every successful painting, I must create 4 or 5, well, maybe not that many, but I'll create some real duds. But I have to do that. I have to screw up. And it's almost like does something to it's like a warm up for my brain. I just need to just express myself until I get to the point where now I like this that I just did and I know why. And then I start learning about myself as an artist and strengthening my my sense of self-trust. And then comes the courage to just put it out there and send in your $25 or 35 or whatever, just for the heck of it, you know, just
Right.
once in a while, do it.
Cynthia, unmute yourself, please, and say what you just said in chat.
Oh, I said that shows are a good way to increase your own visibility within the field and to network with other artists.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because when we get together to hang, that's actually a tremendously supportive environment, if you can believe it. We come together to hang, and there might be a little quibbling about that this painting should be higher or lower or something, but and there always is a little bit of quibbling about that. But in the meantime, people go that are there hanging, they're looking at your painting, they're going, oh my gosh, when I saw this online, I didn't realize you had all those little dots in there. That is just really incredible. How did you do that? I mean, people are walking around talking and chatting to you about your technique or your choice of colors, or what kind of pastels did you use to do that? So there's a lot of, I think, supportive networking going on. And of course, if we had had a reception, we would have had it on that day as well, which we will have a reception next year. But yeah, that's a very good point. And Liz has a very good point too. So her point again is that sometimes you have to kind of go through several layers of experimentation before you get to something that you want to show everybody. But it isn't necessarily you're going to get an award. You just want to show everybody what you just accomplished, and you want to share it with the other members. And Cynthia's point again is kind of related to that, which is networking with the other members and letting them see what you do and getting to see what they do and talking about it in person. It's a very, very important point. Does anybody else have any other reason other than awards or sales?
Kathleen, I read yours on chat. You want to tell us what you said?
Yeah, Kathleen, what did you say?
Come on, Kathleen, unmute yourself and tell me.
I got it. I'm unmuted. Well,
Okay.
What I said is how different your work can look when it's in a show than when you're home, or it's in your home or in your studio. And it's also nice when you're hung in a show to see what does your work look like compared to other people's work, and in every respect, because I love the variety in pastel shows. There was great variety in this program and the shows that we just saw, and it's fabulous to see that. Okay, and just a quick note, because my computer has me as Kathleen, I always end up at Kathleen on Zoom, and I'm Kathy.
She's Kathy, K-A-T-H-E. Okay, Kathy. She's going to be your new Artist of the Month person. Okay, now, and Kathy, you have a really good point too, because here's the thing is that, okay, I know, I'll just talk about my work. I know I'm not a best of show artist. And I know I'm probably more than likely not going to sell my art. Although I have sold a couple pieces in the past, but I'm more than likely not going to sell. So why do I enter? Okay, well, I enter for the reason that Kathy just said, which is I like to, there's my work up on the wall, and then I can look at the pieces of surrounding it and down the hallway, and I look at them and I go, wow, where am I exactly in relation to all these other works of art? Okay, I'm coming along because of a few years ago, you know, I would have placed myself in a certain category, and now maybe I feel like I've inched ahead a little bit or something because I have some comparison works to look at, and I have some ways to make some judgments about my own art. And it's not necessarily making judgments about your art as much as it is about analyzing where I am and what I might need to do to move forward. Okay, so being able to see your work hung on the wall with a lot of other works is very, very valuable. And it's much more valuable than seeing it online where you can barely see some of the details. And lots of times the photography is nowhere near as good as the actual work of art. So I'll give you an example. In our last show, Rita Romero, who got first place in the signature division of her work, which was the shells. Do you remember the shells?
Right.
On a black table, something black background. Okay, well, she sent me that that photograph, and it's all grayed out. It's a horrible photograph. I mean, it's really not that great. Well, you can see it. It's still on the website. And I was thinking, gosh, geez, you know, there's no clarity here. You can barely see these shells up close and personal at all. I mean, the detail work or anything. But when it was hanging on the wall, oh my gosh, that was a completely different story. You could see all the little lines and all the shells and all the little edges and all these different colors that were in the shell and everything. It was a completely different painting almost. So having it on the wall is completely different than having it in a photograph. Yeah. Anybody else?
I have something I'll say.
Yeah, who?
Patty Hagan.
Okay, go, Patty.
Well, one of the reasons I enter or I started to submit work to shows is because I'm fairly new to pastels compared to a lot of people. And for me, I can be a pretty harsh critic of my work. And I read somewhere finally that you let the judge be the judge. Don't judge your work ahead of time. And so it's a way for me to, I guess, see whether I'm improving or not. And I figure, well, okay, if I get in, I must be making some progress. So that's why I do it.
Right. And oftentimes, you know what? I'll tell you two little stories about the show we just had. One is Fred Davenport, our oldest member, who's 94 now, still painting. He entered 3 works into the show, and one of them was juried in, and it hung. And when I notified him of which painting got in, he wrote back to me, he said, that wasn't the one that should have gotten in. That was not my best one. He was angry because the juror had not picked the work that he thought was his best work. However, the juror thought that one of the others was the best. So you don't often know what what strikes a juror. It could be completely different than what strikes you. So you're right. You need to let the judge do the judging. And in the case of Alan's painting, the one that sold and got the award, he chose 2 boat pictures for his entries, and he didn't have a third. And I said, I think you ought to enter the clam diggers that you did, And he said, oh, that's a terrible painting. I never even really, I don't think it's even finished. I should probably do something with that. I go, no, let's just enter it. Come on, let's enter. And no, he was, I get to choose what I want and I don't want that one. We had a big argument about it. And so finally he didn't have a third one. So I said, I'm just entering this one. That's what the way it is. It's going that way. So I entered it and it got an award and it sold.
Fantastic.
And so sometimes you can't even tell from your own work what is
That's-
something that everybody else is going to like. You know what I'm saying? So Patty, you
Yes.
have a very good point there. That's a
well,
great
thank
point.
you.
Yeah.
It's hard to get rejected, but hey, I painted it. Why not try? So
Well, let me tell you a story about Tony Elaine. Tony Elaine, and this is out on Facebook, so it's not a secret.
Yeah.
He entered the online, no, is it the Chicago? I don't know, one of their recent IAPS shows. And he entered 5 paintings, 5 images, and they were all rejected. And anyway, so he put it on Facebook. Hey, guess what? I entered this show and I didn't get in. And I just, I'd put it out there and let you guys know I didn't get in. So anyway, of course, he got like 1,000 comments back saying, oh, poor Tony, and I'm sorry, your work's so fabulous and blah, blah, blah. And so somebody wrote and said, I don't understand this. As far as I can see, you have 5 fabulous paintings. And he wrote back and he said, well, the judges disagree.
yeah,
The
good
judges
point.
disagree.
Mhm.
So, there's a world famous painter, and he did not get anything in the show
Mhm.
because the judge is the final determinant of whether they like your work or they don't.
True.
And you can't ever really second guess what they're going to choose. I remember years ago, we were going to have a landscape artist, Richard McKinley, actually it was. He was going to, this is years ago, and we were having our show in a church, if you can believe it. This is so far back. Anyway, he came and he did a workshop and then he judged our show and everything. Well, I thought since he was coming, he's a landscape artist. I got this snockered. I'm going to do landscapes. That's his thing. He loves landscapes. No. And he picked all the stuff for what was going to be in that show. He picked portraits and still lifes and all abstracts. He picked everything but landscapes. It was like, it was almost like, my landscapes are the best and nobody else comes up to what I do. So therefore, they're not worthy or something. I don't know. But anyway, so you can't ever really try and outguess the judge. It just doesn't work. Doesn't work. Anybody else have any ideas? No? Okay. Well, sometimes people feel like they're a beginner. Does anybody ever feel like that? And you go, well, I probably shouldn't enter because I'm just a beginner. And my work isn't going to be as great as, all these people who are professionals and all this other stuff. And they're going to get all the awards anyway. And what's the point? And I'm wasting my money. And, but that's not a good attitude in the sense that when you're painting, yes, you're painting for yourself. You're painting for the enjoyment of painting. And you're painting because you have something to say and you're trying to say it. But you also want to kind of put it out there and kind of see how it measures up, like we've been talking about here. And if you never enter, you will never know.
Right.
And so it's important to put yourself out there once in a while and take a risk and just see how it comes out. And nobody's going to come up to you at the show and say, geez, what'd you enter that for? It sucks. They're not going to say that, okay?
Promise?
I've never heard anybody
You promise?
say that, ever. I'm telling you. If anything, they will give you encouragement. And if you feel like you want ideas or critiques or anything, you can ask, do you think I should have changed the colors? Or do you think I should have done this or that? People will help you. It's a great way for some free critiquing. So, I just feel like entering a show, the only downside is the $40 to enter. And what we'll do for the next member show is we're going to reduce that amount a little bit, and we're not going to have a juror. What we're going to do is we're going to let everybody enter one painting, their one best painting.
Okay.
And so we can eliminate the juror. And then we will just hire a judge for the awards. And that way everybody will get one in, and you can all come and look at the show, and we can have a good time. We're gonna have a reception too. So out on the patio, it's a beautiful patio. So, okay, so if anybody feels nervous about entering a show, please email me and talk to me. If you want to talk to me on the phone, I'll call you. We'll talk on the phone, whatever. But you should never feel nervous about entering a member show. We're here to share and support each other. And that's what it's for. That's what it's for.
Okay, Sharon, I've got one quick comment about a show I was in this past summer. There was a woman who won 3rd place, and she was kind of a beginner. She was so excited to win. Her painting was small and easily overlooked, but it was a very nice painting. She was so excited that she began crying.
Yeah.
Which was really nice to see. And another comment about that show, I had a piece that won an award in that show, and I had entered it in the member show along with my piece that did get in, fully expecting that one would get in and I'd have to ship it from a different location, not excited about that, but I was certain that one would get in, and it wasn't the one that got in. So it is just so individual and up to the judge, and you can't take that at all personally.
Yeah, you just can't. And you can't really take any of it personally either, because as we just saw in the presentation that Jerry made, everything is how you look at it from each individual. Each individual looks at a painting and sees something different. And so what you see, you might put hours and hours of work into something on your easel, and you're seeing something that you think you see and you remember and is emotional to you. But when it goes up on the wall, then there's all kinds of people looking at it with different viewpoints and different experiences. And so they are seeing different things in it that than what you see. So you can't always, like project yourself into every single painting.
I could comment on that one just a little bit.
Please.
It reminds me of something that I often tell the students in my portraiture classes, and that is, if you have done especially a portrait, and very possibly of a family member, someone you love, or you've done a piece of work that's of yourself, you are very emotionally invested in that piece, even more so than if you did a landscape piece of your, last trip. You are emotionally invested in that. And if you're really proud of it, I hate to say it, but you're colored by your emotional investment in it. And there are some times when I've seen my own work out in a show with others, and I go, that wasn't quite as good as I really thought it was, as I look at it without my emotional coloring with it. So there have been times when I've had a work that I'm really emotionally involved with. If it's something that I think I might want to enter in a show, I set it aside for a little while and go through what I call an emotional cooling off period, where I can maybe look at it a little more objectively than I did before.
Yeah. Well, I just, anybody else have anything to say? Rob, what about you? Anybody? No? Gary?
Well, everything that everybody said, and for me, it's also about a growth, about direction of how, people are looking at different artworks and things that I didn't notice. I noticed in some shows where I dismissed the piece, and I didn't really like that much. But then when it got an award, I took a second look at it, I started to realize what I was missing when I did that. So that's sometimes the nice thing about a show. you pass over something that, and then you don't, and then you make a judgment, and then and then it gets an award. Then you take another harder look at it and say, why was that awarded? And you go, oh, you know what? I see something now that I didn't see before. So to me, that's a nice thing. And for me, motivation is a big thing. Just a deadline, trying to get something done, keep myself painting. It's a way of forcing myself to keep moving, and otherwise it's too easy to sit on the couch or get caught up in work and everything else in life. So
Cynthia just posted a chat that said that for her, framing and shipping is an issue. Let's talk about those as two separate things for a second. Framing is definitely an issue when you have your painting professionally framed.
Right.
Okay, I learned very early on, especially with two of us in our household, Alan and I, busy painting and then having to frame, but we could not afford to have our paintings professionally framed. That it's just not in our pocketbook. So what I did was I went online to look at how to frame pastel paintings, and then I ordered some basic inexpensive equipment, actually, from which some spacers, and there's a little thing that it's like a little cutter thing and whatever, I don't know. Anyways, I just have this basic little setup. And I now, when we go down to Algodones, I buy frames down in Mexico, and I order frames from King of Frames whenever they're having a sale. And I look for when we're out traveling, I go into frame shops, and lots of times they'll have sale frames over on the side, and I go paw through those, and I sometimes buy frames and then I paint a painting to go with the frame. Anyway, but okay, so I have frames that I kind of get on the cheap, and I have my own way of framing, and I buy my own butcher paper to put on the back of it, and I get my glass at Lowe's. They cut it for me. It's pretty cheap. And so I can frame up a painting for about $50 or less. And I'd be more than happy to do that as a presentation if Dodie wants to sometime. But anyway, so that's framing. If framing costs are an issue, then look into doing your own framing, because you can actually do it fairly inexpensively. The other thing, shipping, okay, that definitely is an issue. And it, depending on how far away you live, it can become quite an issue. Some of the people that live back east spent about $90 shipping to and from our member show. So I know that is an issue. I tried to keep it cheaper by having everybody send to me, so that there was no extra handling fee. There's just, you send it to me, I take it over there, we hang it, bring it back, and I send it back to you. So, and I'm more than happy to do that again for the next member show as well. But I have to admit that it is an expense that you have to expect. The only way I can help you with that shipping thing is that shipping is done by size and weight. So what you would want to consider doing for the member show is painting something that's 8 by 10, or possibly no bigger than 9 by 12. Liz, put you on mute, Liz. Thank you. Anyway, that's your dog. Anyway, if you keep your painting small and you have a small shipping carton for it, so that its size is not huge, because they're going to measure length times width times depth. That's how they determine, and they weigh it. So you want to keep a very light foam around it. You don't want to pack it in newspaper or anything like that, which is heavy. You want to keep a light foam under it and over it and around its sides, and keep the carton to be the smallest you can get for your painting. So when you paint for your member show this coming summer or whatever, whenever you're going to do it, paint some smaller paintings. We don't have a minimum size. So we will be more than happy to take your 8 by 10 painting, and your shipping fees will be a lot less than if you are shipping a giant 12 by 16 or 16 by 20. Is that not right, everybody? I'm pretty sure I'm right with that. Yeah, Patty Hagan says yes. And she knows because she ships. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Shipping Maryland was expensive for 3 paintings.
oh, I'll bet. I'll bet.
Yeah.
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 And I know that everybody, I don't even know what these people are doing for the Phippen show. We have somebody who's shipping from Finland and somebody else who's shipping from Myanmar, Burma. And I mean, holy moly, I can't even imagine what that costs. So
They're
I know.
wintering in Arizona. So,
Yeah, anyway, for the show, for the Phippen show in Arizona, I should remind all Arizona artists that we will be arranging for transport. Not everybody will have to drive all the way up to the Phippen. You can if you want, but if you want to drive up there, let me know that you want to, and we'll have you take a few other people's paintings as well. Be sure and keep me informed as to all of that. You'll be hearing more about that from Nori when she sends the acceptance letters and stuff like that. Yeah, we'll have, for Arizona artists, we'll have transport arranged. So that will help our local artists. For the out-of-state artists, I am sorry, but you are stuck with shipping. And as I said, if that's a huge issue for you, then try and paint smaller. That's all I can suggest. Okay.
Hey, Sharon.
Yes.
Are we doing only one per artist at the Phippen, or are we gonna open that up more?
Are we going to do what?
More than one piece per artist on the
No.
Phippen?
No, for the Phippen? Phippen
Yeah.
is free. You could send 3 images, but
No, but how many? But are they only gonna select one?
one.
Okay.
Yeah. The highest, the jurors are scoring them. So the highest scored will be the one that gets in.
Got it.
Yeah. So, yeah, and so you'll be notified which one. Yeah, by allowing only one work per artist for the show, that actually expands the number of artists who can get in. And that is our goal, is to have as many artists as possible get in. I think they're allowing us to hang about 85 to 90 paintings. And we've so far had about 105 artists enter or register. So that does mean that there will be a few people that get decline letters, but I don't know who those people will be. It depends on the scoring by the jurists. Okay, any other questions about the Phippen show? Now, you know, the Phippen show is 6 weeks long, so we're hoping for some sales up there. I'm hoping. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, okay, for that. And because we got over 100 entrants, we will be able to have a nice prize structure. So, and plus we have thousands of dollars in merchandise awards, including, I think it's a half-page award in Artists of the West magazine, which is a really nice award. It's worth about $1,500 or something like that. Nori was telling me about it. I don't have all the exact information, but something like that anyway. Yeah, so we have quite a few awards. Anybody else have any questions about either show, any of the shows?
Yeah, I have a question about the Phippen show.
Yeah.
Do you know when the acceptance decline letters are going to go out? When we'll know?
Is it the 28th? I think maybe. Hang on, I can tell you. I can. Just a minute. Okay, Nori and I have been working on this all week here. Let's see, I should have it by heart, right? Notifications are on January 28th.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And then you have to, Beth, are you? Are you
Yeah.
shipping? You are shipping?
No, I'm gonna take them over there. I live in Camp Verde, which is,
Oh, you live in Camp Verde.
I'm
Wow.
only an hour and a half away from there.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you're close. And who's shipping that's with us today? Patty is, and I don't know, Cynthia is, I guess, huh? Are you shipping, Cynthia? No? I can't hear you.
No, I live here in Phoenix.
You live in Phoenix, okay. Anybody else out there? Okay, because we don't need to talk about it if nobody's shipping. But shipping, it has to be there between the 11th and then February 11th and 19th or something like that. I think it is. No, right, yeah, hang on. We're dropping off. Let's see. Yeah, the paintings have to be dropped off between February 11 and February 19, and we will arrange a particular date with the museum. And so we will all go up on the same day, and they will check them off on that day. And those who are shipping, their paintings have to arrive by UPS or FedEx during that week. So that's the week of that. So yeah, it should be a beautiful show, actually, and we're looking forward to it. We'll see what happens. Well, when you go to a new venue, you really don't know, how everything's going to be. But anyway, that's what we know for sure. What we've been doing, Nori, by the way, is busy home resizing and taking in entries and getting them all in their spreadsheets. And there's just a ton of paperwork that has to be done. That's why she's not with us today. And all week we've been working on different arrangements and scenarios with the Phippen, and I've had to type up all these things and send them off. And it's just a lot of stuff. But that's why I said we'll see how it goes. I'm meeting them. I'm meeting Nori in 2 weeks on a Tuesday to go over the final scoring in case there's like 2 10s, like the judges both give a painting a 10. Well, then we have to sort of say, well, okay, they both got a 10, so they can only have one in. Which one are we going to do? And so we'll probably end up making that final choice from the judges scoring. And that we're doing that in 2 weeks, the 25th, and then the 28th, you get your notifications, and so on. And then I'll be up there the whole week of from the 13th through the 19th. Alan and I will be up there in our motorhome. So we'll be up there all that week. Okay. Any other questions about shows? I hope you guys feel more comfortable about entering them. And by the way, Dodie, there were a bunch of chats that came through that said they did want to see a framing presentation. Did you hear me? Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So maybe we can work that in before the member show next year or something, somehow. I don't know. So
All right.
Sharon,
Sharon, I also frame as well. My cousin owns the largest framing store in Chicago, and I frame my own pieces as well because it's just very expensive to do it. And so I have an inexpensive matting thing that I bought, and it's paid for itself already. I'm just already has really paid for itself already, and I've got the the stapler and the a bunch of the tools, and boy, I'm telling you, one job and you paid for all that stuff.
So you hear that, you guys? Now you know where to take your painting to be framed. Over to Rob's house.
Right.
I can't even get her to frame. Right? I can't even afford their frames. They're, a basic painting's like $1,000 over their store, so they very expensive stuff. And I've asked many times about bringing. They would send me like frames, and then I would assemble them, but I haven't played that game yet. So it's just because it costs so darn much money to send it. So it and I don't know honestly, Sharon, I don't know if anybody really cares about the frames that much, as long as it looks nice. What I mean? I think you could spend, if you want it on your house and you're going to put it over your couch, that's one thing, but you know, a very basic frame sometimes is just is fine. You know, I don't know why. That's the thing I've been noticing is, you know, I pontificate the frames, and it's like, crime and need. A lot of people have very basic frames. It doesn't seem to matter one way or the other.
Right, right. I think if you just stick with basic gold or basic black, you're
Yeah.
pretty much okay. And so that's kind of what I do. And as I said, when you're out and about, go to your nearest frame store and look in their sales rack and
Can
find
you
it.
save that for a framing presentation, please?
Yeah.
You bet.
I would like to, I have one little framing thing on that to say, and then I, for one, am going to have to close. But one of the biggest switches for me was when I was doing not a commissioned work, but a painting for my own self or whatever, to finally discipline myself to plan the size I was making it before I started. Because
Yeah.
I normally just started and did whatever I darn well felt like. And of course, it never fit a custom sized frame.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I became more conscious of giving that some consideration in the beginning. And that's helped me a whole lot as far as less expensive framing.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Okay, we'll do a framing presentation sometime soon.
well,
This
in the
year,
fall.
anyhow. How about that?
Yeah. Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
All right. Hey, it was nice talking to everybody. And
Okay, very
we'll
good.
see you next month. Okay.
Next month. All
Yeah.
right.
Good meeting, Dodie. Thanks.
Yeah,
Happy birthday too, by the way.
Yeah, happy birthday, Dodie.
thank you very much. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.